Hi, everyone, and welcome to our talk today. We're going to be spending some time with you, talking to you and giving you 10 tips on how to start your food photography business. My name is Donna Kraus. I am a Nikon ambassador for food photography, and I'm really excited to be able to share some of the skills and knowledge and tips that I've learned in how to establish a food photography business. I'm sharing my platform today with Bea.
Hi, my name is Bea. I am a food photographer based in England. You can connect with me on my Instagram at Bea. And recently I've also published a food photography book. And today we're just super excited to talk to you about favorite 10 tips on how to start your photography business.
I think it's really important that when you start your business, that you start with what you've got. I know I teach food photography workshops, and one of the things that comes up so often is people will say, "Oh, Donna, I don't have enough props, I don't have enough backgrounds, I don't have all the gear, I don't have everything that I need to start a business." And I know maybe ignorance was bliss with me, but when I started, I literally started with what I had, and I've built up my collection. It's very expensive to buy a lot of backgrounds and to buy props, and you need to know exactly what you want and what you will be using it for before you invest in it. So start with what you've got. Don't get yourself into massive debt trying to establish a whole load of props and backgrounds and gear. It really is important to rather just develop your skills than develop your prop collection.
Absolutely. Then test, try, and choose your focus. That is honestly like the whole process. You just testing, trying, and choosing your focus. So have a look around, see what business models inspire you. Then try as many different jobs as you can. It could be restaurants, it could be working with magazines, your favorite brands, maybe even like some product photography. And then decide if there is anything you're not really that keen on, but you wouldn't know if you haven't tried it. So if you feel like, oh, this is not for me, leave it. And then whatever you feel brings you more joy, that's the direction you should be going towards.
Okay, so create and share a lot. It's really important to get your name out there, and it's about creating beautiful images that you can get out there with your name behind and sharing it with people. It's for me, what I found in the beginning was I had to spend a lot of time creating a strong portfolio to be able to get out via social media and onto an online portfolio. So I really think it's important that you set aside time every day to create beautiful pictures that you are proud to share. And when you put it out there, you may find that some people just don't like what they're seeing and they'll comment on it. And you've got to understand that that's just the nature of the business. And, you can't take it personally. And I think, if you find a way to receive constructive criticism from someone, that can be really good as well in learning to establish which images you want to share and which images you want to keep back for yourself. I'm a member of a photographic club, a local photographic club, and I really enjoy the feedback that I get from the judges. I think that they're knowledgeable on photography, and I trust all the feedback that I receive from photographers. I do prefer to receive feedback from photographers. I know, Bea, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I know my family and friends will always tell me my work is amazing, but I know that I can see problems with it, and I know that a judge will see issues with it. So make sure that if you do receive constructive criticism from someone, it's from someone you trust and you feel and you admire and respect them.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I love that you've mentioned about not taking things personally. To me, it's one of the most important skills I learned as a photographer, not taking things personally. So number 4 is making your portfolio stand out. So your portfolio is the place where you show off your skills. One thing to remember is that you probably only have around 3 seconds to catch somebody's attention. So when a client lands on your portfolio, within 3 seconds, they will probably decide whether to keep browsing or to leave your page. So it's really important to catch their attention. The way I like to think about it is making sure your first image is a wow image. Um, and then making sure you obviously show the like a variety of skills, so like different kind of images in your portfolio. One thing I would also advise is to have a look at other photographers' work, other photographers' portfolio, and making sure that you do something differently, because you want to make sure you are memorable, and that there is something different there on your website. And another thing would be making sure you show your personality, because people don't only hire you because of your images, they hire you because of your personality and how they connect with you. So your about page is honestly super important. Don't skip it. Make sure you show your personality on your about page, and just try and think, brainstorm if there is anything that you can do to make yourself a little bit more memorable.
I agree. And I think the same can actually apply to Instagram as well, because I think Instagram can be sort of a social media online portfolio. And I think so much, so much of that is also about showing personality on your social media. So going into number 5, which is find your tribe. And again, this is where we bring into the social media aspect. And I think it's really important to connect with other photographers, other stylists, prop stylists, chefs, anyone in your area or even online who you could end up potentially collaborating with. I know my first big opportunity came for my first book deal, was by meeting the author of the book online on a Facebook group. So I really think to go and join these groups and reach out and connect with other photographers and book authors and bloggers, and really just put yourself out there to find people of similar interest and that you could potentially collaborate with. The one thing I do want to say is don't fear the fact that if you don't have a big social media following. This is no indication of the type of photography or your level or your competency of photography. And I think you've just got to keep going. You've just got to keep pushing it and, chatting to people and connecting with people. Don't fear that because you have less followers than somebody else, they're not going to respond to you. That's not going to be the case. I think that if somebody doesn't respond to you, they're probably just quite busy at the time. But keep your work consistent. Keep your online portfolio being your Instagram portfolio consistent. Keep it business orientated. Always be professional when it comes to whatever area you're working in. If you're working on Facebook, if you're working on Instagram, whenever you're dealing with potential collaborators, always make sure that you keep your work professional. Don't mix family photos in with all your other work. And mostly what I think is really important is just make sure that in your bio you have your name, your personal name. If you have an account, if you have a handle that's your business account name, then try and put your name into your bio, so that whoever you're dealing with knows the person on the other side, knows the name of the person on the other side of the account, instead of just speaking to a name of an Instagram handle.
I totally agree. It's so true. And I think photography is or can be a very lonely job at times. Yes. So having other photographers around you and knowing there are people out there who do the same thing and with who you can chat and just bounce some ideas back, it's really nice way.
Yeah, for sure.
Really,
I agree.
Yeah, like what we do,
Yeah.
Exactly. So with number 6, it's shadowing someone you admire. And honestly, I cannot recommend that enough. Like seeing somebody at work, like even for the day, can not only be like extremely inspiring, but it can also bring you a lot of clarity on what food photography process looks like. When you do decide on who you want to contact, just probably a few things I want to mention here. Don't take things personally here. That's the skill we were talking about, something very useful when you're building your photography business. Because the truth is, when you're reaching out to people and asking them if you can come and shadow them for the day, people are busy. They might not reply to your emails because they either haven't seen your email or they are extremely busy at the time. So don't take this personally. There was actually one photographer I was reaching out to when I first started. It took 5 months to actually it took me 5 months to actually persuade, I guess, persuade him to have me during the shoot. Because, you know, it was important for me to learn from him. And every month I would just send him a polite note, a polite email asking if that would be possible. And after 5 months, he actually said finally yes. I always offered my help. And honestly, even if that was like, hey, I'll wash up the dishes, let me just be there. So I think showing that you are there because you really want to learn from that person and offering any kind of help is really important.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And sometimes you'll receive an email and at the time that person doesn't have a need for you. And if you keep sending the same email, maybe at email number 5, they'll have a big job coming up and they'll go, right, that's the person I need to come and assist me on a shoot. So yeah, it's important to just keep pounding that pavement. Right, so build your confidence. Imposter syndrome is real. It's not, it's something that can become absolutely crippling for some photographers. They feel that they have not been in the game long enough and they feel that they are less experienced than others. So it can actually end up becoming crippling. And I think it's really important that you have to build, it's like building your photography skills is building your confidence. You are going to face rejections in this game. Unfortunately, that's part of the game. And, you know, you've got to learn to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and carry on. And, you know, keep building those confidence skills, keep believing in yourself and believing in the work that you're doing, and just trying to get it out to as many places as possible. But one thing is, it's very difficult not to, I know, but don't compare yourself to others. Especially when you see other photographers on Instagram are achieving great things and you sit back and you think, is there something wrong with me? Is my work not good enough? You know, everybody has a different journey. And I think, you know, just keep going at it, keep believing in yourself and believing in the work that you're putting out. And just for me, when I first started, I put work out that I liked. I wasn't too concerned about what other people thought. It was the stuff that I enjoyed, that I enjoyed the process of making, and I enjoyed the process of sharing. And I think that is a really good thing, is when you start doing it, a lot of it for yourself more than you're doing it for others, that can really help to build the confidence towards your work that you're sharing.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Rejection is part of the game.
I think we should make that the title of this.
Yes, I've been rejected so many times. I don't even remember
Yeah.
how many times I have been rejected. And I think it's just like getting used to the rejection and being okay with being rejected and just basically have no expectations. Yeah, and so like working on your business skill, obviously we're working on our photography skills all the time because we want our images to be stronger, but at the same time we need to work on our business skills. And I'm sure that all of you out there started doing photography because you love being creative, because you love creating, and you here because you really want to create beautiful images. But suddenly when you're becoming a full-time photographer or when you're starting to build your food photography business, there are other skills that are as important as your photography skills, and that's your business skills. And I think realizing this myself when I first started was like a big it was like a big shift in my business, and I feel that this is what really moved me forward. So we're talking here about branding. And branding is not really just what your website looks like. It's making sure that you show your personality on your website. It's making sure you show your personality in your emails. It's making sure you're showing your personality on your social media. So think about what's important for you. What would you like people to know about you? And just making sure that you show that. It's not easy because people are not with you like face to face. They seeing your work and they seeing your words online. So it's really important to show that personality. And then learning to work with clients, because you moving from working with your own ideas to working with somebody else's ideas. So first of all, like building those connections, and second of all, learning how to work with people, learning to be clear about your messaging and managing clients' expectations. All those things come as a package of like a business skill set, and it's something that you have to work on as you work on your food photography skills at the same time.
Definitely. There's so many facets to a business. It's not just about photography. Which brings us
Absolutely.
to the next point, which I think is the one that is always quite a topic to discuss. So that you probably get the same thing. I often get a DM saying, "Hi there, what's your daily rate for work?" And for me, I don't particularly have a daily rate. There's so many factors that I take into account when I'm pricing for a client. And I mean, along with that, do you work for free or do you charge? Me personally, I've done a couple of free jobs, and they haven't always ended up really well. So for me, I think that there is an element of charge that you should put onto your work, purely because I think that the person at the other end needs to understand how much time and effort you put into it. That being said, I don't make my initial conversation with my clients about pricing and about budget. I'll establish exactly what they need first, how much time I think it's going to take, whether I'm going to need to travel there, props, whether I'm going to need assistance, and ingredients, or if I'm making a recipe, what ingredients I'm going to be needing to purchase. And these are all things that I will establish around my pricing. I think it's really important to ask your client what the budget is for the work that they require, just to establish if what their expectations of you, if they're wanting 15 images and they want to charge you they want to pay you a really low minimal amount, you just need to establish what they want for how much they're prepared to pay. And then start negotiating with them a fee that's makes both of you comfortable to work for. So what's really important, I think, is when somebody initially reaches out to you, you just say, "Hey there, can we just pop onto a phone call quickly and discuss exactly what your requirements are?" I'll write down all the information from the phone call and then send them an email saying, "This is what we've discussed." And just making sure that we manage expectations, both from my side and from their side. Do be careful not to underquote. I know it is always a concern, but I do find, and I'm sure you find this, that most jobs actually end up being much bigger than I expected. So do try and build in a little bit of space for those extra jobs that do come out as being a lot bigger and a lot more time consuming as you expected.
Yes, I totally agree. And my approach, is exactly the same. I price per project rather than having a date rate. And just probably one thing I wanted to mention here is like how important it is to know how long things take you, so that when you know what the client wants, you can actually time this accordingly, and how long it's going, like how long this job is going to take you. And one thing what Donna also mentioned about making sure you don't like undervalue yourself, I think actually it's very smart. Whatever, you know, whatever price you have in mind for that project, depending on how long it's going to take, add some extra on the top, because you can always knock it down. But if your price is lower, you can suddenly put more on the top of it, but you can always knock it down, or it's the part of negotiation as well. So the client might say, hey, you know, let's like knock it down a little bit. Right, so number 10, we're already at number 10, is striving for progress, not perfection, always. Like perfection is just such a trap. It really is a trap. It's all about just doing things consistently. Exactly the same as when you build your food photography skills. You build them by repeating. So you shoot and shoot and shoot, and your skills get better. And it's exactly the same with building your food photography business. You basically repeat certain actions, then you just have to value, hey, that didn't work out, I'm not going to do that again. That works out really well, I'm going to do more of that. So it's all about progress and consistent action. And just me and Donna really wanted to give you one challenge so that you can take action today. Think about one little action that you could do right away, something that will help you moving your photography business forward. And that could be something as simple as reaching to your first client. That could be reaching out to a photographer you admire if you can shadow them at work. Or this one little action could be gathering images to put on your portfolio. So think about your little action, something that you can do today. Make sure you put that on your calendar and just do it.
And finally, mistakes do happen often. And I think what's really important with a business is how you manage your mistakes and how you correct them. So yeah, don't get into panic. Just know that it does happen to people, and your clients should understand, and just correct the mistakes if it's a large mistake that can impact a client, and admit that you made a mistake. I think that's really important. So Bea and I, these are Instagram handles at the bottom. If there's anything that you would like to know more of from either of us, please feel free to contact us on these Instagram accounts, DM us. And yeah, I'll happily answer any questions. And I know that Bea's happy to answer questions. So we'd love you to get in touch with us and just say, even just to say hello.
Yeah, please do reach out to us and let us know if you have any questions. And we are just so grateful to be here and to share those tips with you. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being here.
And I just want to say one more thing. Buy Bea's book. It's fantastic. I love it.
You're so sweet, my friend. Thank you.
Good. Nice to see you.
Yes.